Today, how do we exemplify the devotions of the Sahabah? The devotions of the Sahabah towards Allah.
Very good question. How do we exemplify the devotions of the Sahaba towards the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? By first and foremost, by increasing in our love for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and by decreasing in our love for the dunya. How do you increase in love for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? By decreasing in the love for the dunya. Because these two things, love for the Prophet and love for the dunya, they don't come in the same heart. They are two opposites. If you look into the life of the Prophet ﷺ, he lived the life of absolute simplicity. Absolute simplicity. To such an extent that 3 young men from amongst the Sahaba came to the Prophet, Sayyidah Aisha, after the Prophet ﷺ passed away, and said to her, "O Aisha, O mother of the believers, can you please cook some food for us that the Prophet ﷺ used to eat?" Exciting question, isn't it? Because only Sayyidah Aisha used to cook in the house. You know what Sayyidah Aisha said to them? Sayyidah Aisha said, "Don't even dream of eating the food that he used to eat. For the luxury of the dunya that you are living in and the types of luxurious foods that you are eating, you will not even be able to taste a single morsel of the food that he used to eat." Why? Because it was so simple. It was absolutely simple. So the first step in walking in the way of the devotion of the Sahaba is by increasing in our attachment, in the attachment of our heart, in loving the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in knowing him sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in constantly being in remembrance of him. You know the poet, he said, وَعَلَامَةُ حُبِّهِ كَثْرَةُ ذِكْرِهِ. One of the signs of his love sallallahu alaihi wasallam is to constantly mention him. So we need to see how often during the day does our conversation speak about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In our normal day, we should all think, how many times did I think about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam or speak about him? You know, last time I came, I made khutbah in the International Islamic University of Malaysia. And one of the things I said to the students there was, I said, there are millions of Muslims in the world on social media, but they're speaking about very trivial things. They take a photo in a restaurant of beautiful food and say, "I'm about to eat this." Nobody wants to know what you're about to eat. Who cares? Right? They jump into a nice car and say, "I'm driving this car." Nobody cares. Everybody drives a car, everybody eats food. I said, had the Muslims flooded social media with descriptions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the world that we live in would have been totally different. Had we introduced the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam onto the world, then the world would have been a different place. But guess what? We are obsessed with ourselves, taking 354th selfie to just get it right and then post it on Facebook, because we're obsessed with ourselves. The Sahabah radiallahu anhum were obsessed with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and their obsession with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam took them to those high degrees of devotion. So we need to get rid of our obsession of the dunya and our obsession for ourselves and become obsessed with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's when we will begin to see elements of devotion that might have a fragrance of the devotion of the Sahaba. I'm not going to say might have a portion, because we cannot even reach the dust of the feet of those great companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.